Well, I'm not going to lie. I never thought that it was going to happen. But finally, somebody that sits on the right of the aisle and somebody that sits on the left side of the aisle finally sat down and had a civil conversation about how we fix the country. And of all people, it was Shawn Ryan and Cenk Uygur. And not that I'm saying that Shawn is not up for those conversations, but Shawn is not nearly as political as Cenk is. Cenk has made his entire career politics. And the two of them sat down for a 3.5-hour discussion. I covered about half of it on a live stream. And I'm going to cover about 40 minutes of this interview where they actually talk about solutions. Because just like Cenk, just like Shawn Ryan, and just like you, and just like me, all of us feel like we have been alienated by our politicians. They do not care about the average American. And the only thing they care about is enriching themselves and their friends. And the people on the right are going to say, well, look at Pelosi stock trading. And the people on the left are going to say, well, look at Trump's kids being defense contractors now. When are you guys going to understand that it's not a left versus right issue? It is an average American versus the elite class. This whole left-right narrative, the whole black-white narrative, the whole gay-straight narrative, all of it is used to keep us pointing the finger at each other rather than pointing the finger where it should be pointed, at the politicians. And the part of the interview that I'm going to show is where Cenk and Shawn finally start getting to some solutions after establishing what the problems are. And we all know what the problems are. Are politicians being subservient to their donors? Political super PACs? And AIPAC? And other foreign lobbies? And until we get the money from those three out of politics, our politicians will never do what's best for us and only do what's best for them, because those are the people that get them elected. Guys, my name is Ricky. This is America First. FTR stands for Free the Republic because, as we all well know, we are no longer a sovereign nation. And we need to take that sovereignty back. So, without further ado, let me put on Shawn and Cenk, and we will watch and go over this and break this down. Feel free to leave a comment on the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if they're wrong. Let me know if you think we're all raging antiseptics for feeling that foreign lobbies shouldn't influence our politicians. But let's watch and discuss.
Democrats, even though I'm on the left, it's Tom Massey's election in Kentucky. If they right now, the singer Adelson, etc., pouring in millions to his cutout MAGA opponent, right? Fill in the blank guy, whoever the fuck he is. It doesn't matter. It's whoever is willing to be a...
Sure, we'll find out soon.
Yeah, it's whoever's willing to be a dog to the Israelis, right? Okay. So if Massey loses that election, the message is going to go to all the people in the House and in the Senate: oh, don't oppose Israel. They'll come to get you, and it doesn't matter if you're Bowman on the left or Massey on the right. They'll eliminate you, okay? So on the other hand, if Massey wins the election, the opposite message is going to go out. Oh, shit, AIPAC doesn't have as much power as they used to. And now it turns out supporting AIPAC might cost you elections. And now we got Democrats scrambling, going, AIPAC? I didn't say AIPAC. No, I'm not taking money from AIPAC. So even Rahm Emanuel, Obama's former chief of staff, you know what happened? First Persian Gulf War, Rahm is so animated about the war that he joins to serve. Attaboy. Oops, he joined the IDF, not American military.
Did any of you guys know that Rahm Emanuel signed up to serve for the IDF instead of signing up to serve for the American military? And these are the people that are running for office and hold elected positions in our country.
Really?
Yep. He's an American, went and volunteered with the IDF. Larry Ellison gave $16 million in contributions to the IDF. Okay, so, but I brought him up because Rahm is now running for president, and he's on Bill Maher's show last week, and he goes, you know, we should cut funding to Israel. Really, Rahm?
Right.
Really?
Right.
So we even got Rahm Emanuel, a literal IDF soldier, saying we should cut funding to Israel because he knows he can't win if he says we should keep giving money to
Then we'll
Israel.
just go right.
Why are we letting somebody that served in a foreign military run for the presidency of the United States? Why are we even allowing it? That absolutely blows my mind. But at this point, I don't think there's anything that'll surprise me anymore. Because the whole thing, all of it, fake and gay.
Right back to it,
Yeah.
which is why you have to gut the system the way I was saying. I don't think you can leave anybody in there, even Roe, Eva Massey, who I like both of those guys. I think it has to. You have to get rid of everybody.
No, I'd keep the clean guys. But here's another encouraging thing from the left. So Abdullah El-Sayed's running for that Michigan Senate seat against Haley Stevens.
Why do you think we should keep the clean guys? How do you know they're clean? I mean, like I
Proof's in the
said,
pudding.
I like them, but
I just need to make my video, ask who has the collection.
What about Subway meets Forest?
there's
Guys, just so you know, I don't pay for YouTube Premium because I don't make money off this channel yet. It'd be nice to. So if you want to support the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. Seems like a good time to tell you guys to do that.
still remnants of the old system.
Yeah, I hear you, but
Get rid of it.
but Sean, hear me out on this. Those guys were brave enough
I'm with you.
to take on Goliath when no one else would. So I don't want to lose good soldiers who already started fighting the Leviathan before the cavalry showed up. You see what I'm saying? So that's why, and there's not that many of them. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's at most 6% of Congress.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go with the Shawn Ryan strategy of don't even look, vote blind against the incumbents, deal, because you're going to get 94% correct people, right? But we're just talking about the fringes and stuff. But those guys have battle experience in fighting the machine, right? So I still disagree with 90% of Massey's votes, but I'll take a clean guy over a dirty guy and a guy who already fought the machine and who already won. And now they're coming after Ro Khanna too. So I'll take Ro over any of those guys. He's already been in the battles. He's already gotten the Epstein files released. He already has a record of delivering for Americans and Americans only, right? So that's why I like those guys. But overall, we're on the same page. Wipe out the incumbents, right? And we got to do it together. If we don't all do it, it's not going to work, right?
So I think the good thing about the 24 election, if there is anything good about it, is it was exposed that independent media has the power.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think very much so. I tried to get Kamala on here to talk because I wanted to talk to everybody that was running for president. She wouldn't come. And she probably would have run. She probably would have won if she would have done the damn podcast tour.
Well,
But and I'm not saying I would have voted for her. I'm not saying it would have been any better because I think both of them were a fucking disaster, to be honest with you. Point being, I think that with how Trump ran his campaign and podcasting and independent media, I think that's what sealed the deal. I don't even think it was him. I think it was independent media.
yeah, I totally agree.
And so now we know. So if people like you and I can come together and create some sort of an alliance where we blacklist all these other fuckers and lift the new blood up, it will work. It will work.
Yeah. So that's the beauty of it, Sean. Now they're on our home turf. They got to come to us, right? And if they don't come to us, they're going to get punished and they're going to lose, especially in a presidential election. You're going to run for president, but you're going to do it hiding in a cave. You're not going to talk to any of the top shows online. That means you're a coward. That means you're a liar, and nobody's going to trust you. Okay. Now, if they come and do the shows, that's a different problem for them because they have to be honest and they have to know their shit and they have to talk to you like they're a regular human being, and they can't, if they use talking points, you and I will catch them and we'll snuff it out, right? So why did Kamala Harris not do any?
Real quick, because I don't know if I skipped ahead too far in that episode, but Cenk's suggestion is whoever the incumbent is, that is who needs to get voted out. In the House and the Senate, other than Roe and Thomas Massey and a select few others, whoever the incumbent running for office is needs to get voted out. And we need to start with a clean slate in the House and the Senate. And I don't disagree. I think that is probably one of the better ideas, other than burning Washington to the ground at this point. I don't think we can do a third party because we watched RFK Jr. struggle to even get on the ballot in some states. So if the Democrats and the Republicans realize that, oh shit, they're coming for both of us, the Democrats and the Republicans are going to do whatever they can to shut it down. And they will do it. So the only way to do this is to completely wipe these parties out. We need to organize, spread the word, and get everybody that gives a shit about the future of this country, about the future of their kids' kids, about the dollar losing its value. You know, like important things, right? We need to get everybody to vote in the primaries. Because out of everybody that's eligible to vote, statistically, only 50% of eligible voters vote in the presidential election, and it's about 27% that vote in primaries. So if we get Gen X, Gen Z, everybody in our generation to turn out, we can turn that 27% on its head and affect real change in this country. But we have to get the people out to vote. If people don't turn out to vote for the primaries, we are going to be in the same shit for the next 4 years. And people need to stop looking at it as left versus right, red versus blue. None of that shit matters. If you're taking money from a foreign lobby, you're not getting elected. Period. End of story. If you're taking money from super PACs, forget it. The only way to change the system is from the ground up, because it will never change from the top down.
Media. Just think about how stupid that is, okay? And this is a huge problem for the Democratic Party. To this late day, they still don't get it. Okay, now you raise all the money, you raise $2 billion, $4 billion, whatever you raised. What are you using it for? You use the great majority of that to buy ads. But what are ads? They're paid media. You know what's better than paid media? Earned media. Free media when you go on the show itself. You're going to buy a 30-second ad on a show when you can just go on there and talk for an hour? What are you, nuts? That's the equivalent of 120 ads. That would cost you like millions and millions of dollars. So the guy doing earned media, which in last election was Trump, is going to have a multi-billion-dollar advantage over the person not doing earned media. So Kamala Harris was like, no, I don't want the viewers of Shawn Ryan's show to vote for me, or Rogan's show, or the Young Turks, by the way. They don't come on left-wing shows either, okay? And so I don't want those voters. Well, you didn't get them, and that's why you lost.
And that's why I was asking, do you think that the money from the PACs is even relevant if we were to do something like that?
In 99% of elections, since there is no media attention in a congressional run in Montana, and they're not coming on our shows and they're not going on any shows, money still buys those seats. But in a presidential election, they can't buy it. They just don't know it yet. Okay. So now what they'll try to do is they'll try to exclude people. That's establishment 101, right? And so they just did it. MS Now, that's the goofy new name, did, here are your 24 fighters on the Democratic side. Pick your fighter. So giant number of potential candidates for 28. Who's the one guy they left out? You want to guess?
Who?
If you're pretending you don't care right now, but you know you do, and you earn at least 150K, watch this. Here's the challenge. If you're a high-performing man in the second half of your life, I'll get you ripped in 2026, and if you don't get ripped, you don't pay. It's that simple. And no, this isn't another generic eat chicken and run on a treadmill plan. This is a done-for-you performance system built for men with real stress and real schedules, training, nutrition, accountability, execution. And for clients who qualify, we integrate medical optimization to dial in blood work, hormones, sleep, stress, and your energy. Before I explain how it works, look at this. Rich is in his 50s. He went from soft to ripped. Aaron owns his own dental practice. He went from embarrassed to guys at the gym asking him for advice. Nate looks like a completely different human. I thought my team mixed his photos up. Ben is a successful business owner with one hand and turned into the Terminator in his mid-40s. I could keep going, but we ranked on the Inc. 5000 in 2025 because we produce transformations like this every single day. And while
Ro Khanna. Okay. Because no, not the clean one. Not the clean one. So they're doing all these polls for presidential election. Who's the most active Democrat in the country? It's not even close. Ro Khanna is doing more than the rest of the Democratic Party combined, right? Mm-hmm. Half the polls don't include Ro Khanna.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Okay, here, I'll tell you more funnier. Like, that's more spectacular because Ro is the most legit guy there is, right? He represents Silicon Valley. It's the richest district in the country. He was co-chair of Bernie's presidential campaigns. Excluding him is mental. It's a tell. Once they show you a tell like that, you know that they're not being honest or objective. But I'll tell you a funny one that's related to me. So I got so frustrated that nobody's running against Biden, and I tried to get everybody to run. Nobody would do it. I was like, fuck it. I'll do it. I'll do it as a protest candidate. Okay. Even though I'm not even born in the country, that's a long story. I think you can run if you're not born in the country because of the 14th Amendment, but that's not important. I'm mainly running as a protest candidate. So Gallup includes me in the first poll, and I get 2%. Now, wait a minute. 2% for a guy literally no one in mainstream media talked about as a candidate, who's an online talk show host. Most candidates, like senators and governors, never get to 2%. When Trump first started, he was at 1%. When Bernie first started, he was at 1%. Okay, so 2%, as comically low as it sounds, is a real number. Because my guess is they put me in the poll because they thought I was going to get 0.
I mean, what percentage of the population votes? Do you know?
Oh, it's around 50%, but not in primaries. Primaries are much lower. That's your base of bases that usually vote in primaries.
50% of what?
Everybody needs to pay attention to the numbers that they're talking about right now, because this is exactly what I just talked about. And this is how we turn the elections on them. 50% of people that are eligible to vote in the presidential election. Less than 30% of those 50% vote in the primaries. If we turn out for the primaries, we can flip Washington on its head. And that's exactly what we need. It's not about getting behind a candidate that's anti-establishment. It's not about buying into whatever bullshit they're selling. We have the power. We have the power. And it's time for us to start using it. And I am going to make it my mission on this channel to inform people and get them motivated enough to get off their asses and go vote in the primaries and get their incumbents out so we can get a fresh new set of people in here. That doesn't mean put in somebody that takes money from AIPAC. But if they're an incumbent and they take money from AIPAC, get them the fuck out. If their money is all coming from the pharmaceutical industry, get them the fuck out. If it's coming from big agriculture, get them the fuck out. Defense contractors, get them the fuck out. I would rather vote for everybody. I don't care if you're left or right, that's running a grassroots campaign, than vote for anybody that is establishment and has establishment money funding their campaign. Period. End of story.
Of potential voters vote in elections. So now,
What do you know? I'm just curious because you have almost 7 million subscribers on your channel. That's got to be 2% of the voting block.
yeah, we overall for the TYT network, we have 32 million subscribers.
Holy shit.
Okay, so we're a hidden giant because people just think Young Turks, that's the flagship show. But we have like a dozen other shows. We have 24-hour channels on Samsung, YouTube TV, LG, Roku, Amazon Prime, you name it. We got like a cable channel on all of those, right? So we're this, but mainstream media hates us so much, as you can tell for obvious reasons, right? That they're like, no, don't ever talk about them. Don't ever talk about their network. Don't talk about how we're larger than almost anyone online. So, but I want to finish that story real quick. So I get to 2%. They're like, holy shit, that's better than like half the senators and governors, right? They never put me in another poll.
Are you serious?
Yep. Pull it. Let's go. No. So no mainstream media coverage. No.
If you don't work in IT, keep scrolling.
Okay, now that they're gone, how are we doing? How many
polls? They're trying to eliminate by default. Okay. But because of online media, they won't be able to do it this time around. So let's say, again, let's take Roe or Massey as examples. They run for president, right? And they go, okay, we're not putting Tom Massey in the polls. We're not putting Ro Khanna in the polls. Everybody's going to go, what? Like, no, what is this? You know what? Fuck it. We'll do the poll. You think I can't do a poll? The other day, I was on Tucker's show and I asked people, do we owe Israel? Okay, because mainstream media keeps saying we owe Israel. I go, I don't know why we owe Israel, right?
Why do we owe it? What is the
don't know Israel. So
does anybody have a legitimate answer as to what we owe Israel for? Because as far as I know, they had prior knowledge to 9/11. They They were banned from Langley because they were consistently getting caught trying to bug CIA headquarters. They stole our nuclear secrets, which is how they got their nukes. So what have they done for us? Just out of curiosity. Because it's surely not, they surely haven't stabilized the Middle East. It'd be a lot more stable if they weren't there. We wouldn't have been in Iraq if it wasn't for Bibi's intelligence of weapons of mass destruction that were never there. What we do owe Israel is a swift kick in the ass. And tell them to get the fuck out. We're taking our country back.
I asked mainstream media, why don't you do a poll if you're so sure that Americans think we owe Israel? And of course, none of them do the poll. Then I went to my audience. I was like, hey, you guys want to fundraise for a poll? Like, boom, immediately. Send us. This doesn't take that much. It's like $1,500 to one question, right? So we got that in a day. We do the poll. Of course, a huge percentage say, no, we don't owe Israel. A tiny percentage are like, yeah, we owe Israel. They don't want to do that. But so my point is, we'll put Massey and Khan on a poll. Who cares, right? We don't need you guys. Mm-hmm. And if you don't believe our poll, then you do it, right? And until you put them in the polls, we're going to embarrass you. We're going to humiliate you, right? And the more they try to exclude our candidates, and let's say it's not Khan or Massey, it's a third-party guy, whoever, it doesn't matter who it is, right? And they're like, okay, we're not including him. It's not your choice, brother. It's not. Look, RFK Jr., when he was barely a Democrat, in the first round of the primaries against Biden last time around, he got up to 25% in a poll.
Wow.
He's barely a Democrat, and he's a little wacky in my opinion. And he got to 25%. You know why? Because people are hungry for someone who's different, right? So they're not going to be able to keep us out. They're not going to be able to take away the spotlight. So my point, what I would do is
They are, though. They are going to be able to keep people out, and they are going to be able to take away the spotlight. Because the boomers only consume mainstream media. So this is going to have to be an independent media campaign, a grassroots campaign, and a campaign like they've never seen before, where we as in the younger generation that has an invested interest in the future of our country, other than the boomers that are on their way out and really don't give a fuck. This is what we need to do.
I would encourage Republicans to go in their primary in 28. And if, somebody's working for Israel, you ought to have your head examined if you vote for them. So vote for a clean guy. I'm going to encourage all the Democrats to vote for a clean guy on our side. And whoever gets the clean candidate is going to win, period. Like if we have Ro Khanna versus Ted Cruz, the Republicans are cooked, right? No chance. Or Marco Rubio, Mr. I swear I'll work for Israel, right? So we'll crush, right? So, but let's say neither side gets a clean guy. It's Ted Cruz versus Buttigieg, right? Then fuck it. Then we'll do a third party.
If you're solving a problem that the rest of the world ignores, and you want to make a way bigger impact this year, this is the one thing you need to focus on.
I want to show you how
Okay. And Democrats will hear this and be like, we know it. You're disloyal. No, brother. You're disloyal to the Americans
That's
voters.
right.
And you're disloyal to Democratic voters. They said no Israel, but you put up Israel's bitch anyway. So if you're defying 80% of your own voters, well, then we're going to defy you because you're not my uncle. The Democratic Party's not, I don't owe you anything, man. And all you've ever done is hate me, even though I was trying to get you to win elections instead of lose elections like morons, right? So I don't owe you a fucking thing, okay? You're supposed to be our representatives. If you don't represent us, you owe us, motherfucker. You owe us. And if you don't represent us, politically speaking, not physically, we're going to put your head on a stick, okay? And after we put enough heads on sticks politically, and after we get the clean president, now you guys are fucked, okay? Well, now we're going to come and take all of you out, like, I would tell any Democrat that's running that's clean, make me the enforcer. I swear to God, I'll get them all out, okay? They won't be able to stop us. You make villains out of them. It's not that hard. We're having a vote, like the vote they just had on Israel. 7 Democrats vote for Israel. If there was a clean Democratic president and I was the enforcer, I'd go to the press conference in the White House and I'd put the 7 of them, their pictures up on giant posters and the amount they took from AIPAC underneath and go, here's what Chuck Schumer sold you out for. Here's what Fetterman sold you out for, and Kirsten Gillibrand and Blumenthal, all of them, okay? They're all crooks. You should hate them and you should shame them, okay? Never do anything physical, never do anything violent, because that's a trap, okay? One, it's immoral and it's wrong on its own. But secondly, it'll ruin the movement. The minute you do any violence, they'll shut it all down. And the survey.
And just so you guys know on the right, it's not just AIPAC. It's Turning Point Action, right? Which has been completely taken over by the Zionist agenda. They have weaponized Christianity against Christians to further the political agenda of Israel. So if you're taking money from Turning Point or Turning Point Action or any of their affiliated groups, your just is done. And we're going to air you out. We have maybe 1 or 2 election cycles to take back our country before we have the Palantir, mass surveillance, social credit bullshit that they're dealing with in the EU right now. So if we don't act, that's what we're in store for. And none of us want that. None of us want to live under a surveillance state with a social credit score like they do in China, where if you get caught jaywalking, they just take the money out of your paycheck because that's how it works. You just had Donald Trump, the president who was spied on by all these FISA warrants say that he would give up his liberty to allow FISA to continue to operate. Does that make any sense to anybody? The one thing that they used against you to try to put you in jail, you're now advocating for? There's no drain the swamp. You are the swamp. And you fooled a lot of us. I think you fooled more people than you realize. Because your base is not as big as you think. Your MAGA cultists, they're real loud online. But their numbers are real small. Because the average American feels like they got sold out.
Surveillance state will come, right? Frustrate the shit out of them by not doing anything physical or violent. But do I get to shame someone? You're goddamn right I do, okay? Blumenthal works for Israel, and I don't give a fuck what you say, and he betrayed us, and everyone should shame him and say, who the hell are you? Why did you betray us? Why are you a betrayer of your own voters? Was it the money? Or do you just naturally love Israel more than you love America and more than you love your voters? Oh, you can't say that to him. He's a Jewish American. Well, Bernie's the Jewish American, and he's the one who proposed the bill. This doesn't have anything to do about religion. Stop hiding behind human shields, okay? We're going to come and get all of you guys if you're for Israel. Can we do it? Fuck yeah, we can do it. All we need is a clean president, and then we have the spotlight. Shawn, media is politics.
How ironic is that? Cenk Uygur telling all these traitors to our country to stop hiding behind human shields. Doesn't that excuse sound familiar? Right? We've heard that before somewhere, haven't we?
Spring, the unofficial new year for tool people. New jobs, new projects.
I need you to stop what you're doing for a second and really listen.
Is stronger than mainstream media. You have no idea how good a shape we're actually in. They're not going to be able to buy 28. They could pour in $100 billion and it's not going to work.
Well, I don't know about that. I just think, I've also been thinking about, okay, well, if this were to happen and I was the establishment, I was AIPAC, I was Israel, I would, whoever, China, how would I deal with this issue? Well, then the money switches to independent media.
Yeah.
Now we have to be able to, now we have to worry about you and I.
Yep.
And everybody of any influence. I mean, which people already are. I mean, I see it on yours too. I get blasted all the time. But people think I'm making fucking money off speaking out against what Israel's doing. And it's like, actually, it's quite the opposite. Actually, what I did get, I got a nice propaganda letter that wanted me to come visit Israel and give me a fucking tour. I didn't do it. And you know, and I mean, I never got the offer, but there was the what, $7,000 a post or something to be pro-Israel. I'm not I haven't, other than bullshit bots and you know, retarded MAGA people on the internet saying that the Muslims or the Muslim Brotherhood's paying all. That's just this fucking garbage. But you know, I think I mean, they're gonna change. They're gonna adapt their tactics, and so I think about how they would do that, and I think there would be a big injection of money into independent media to try to manipulate who we talk to, who we bring on, who we give exposure to.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to happen. But
So how do you fight that?
Yeah, so I still have plenty of good news on that. Okay, so first off, those folks are not going to be able to mobilize quickly enough to affect 2028. Why? Because not only do you have to give money to the influencer, but that influencer has to be good enough to build an audience. Now that's much harder. Now it's easier when you have a big vat of money. It was super hard for us. We started in my living room in a 1-bedroom apartment in LA with nothing, right? So we had to build it brick by brick over 24 years, right? Yeah, sure, you could build it quicker when you have a lot of money, but Ben Shapiro has a lot of money and like seems like infinite money from his donors, right? But he can't keep his audience, right? So in the short term, there's all these great news. So what I was going to say earlier is Abdullah Saeed's running in Michigan as a Senate candidate on the Democratic side. He's got Haley Stevens taking tons of money from AIPAC, and then someone who's Israel friendly but is not taking money from AIPAC, only 100,000. That's the case. He said, well, but Abdul starts campaigning with my nephew Hassan Piker. Okay, so Hassan's a controversial dude. He said a lot of things I wouldn't say, right? And he said some things that are not right, etc. But that's not why they care about him. They care about him because he's anti-Israel, right? So they start piling out, Abdul's terrible. He's, you know, with Hassan, and cancel Hassan and cancel Abdul. Ha ha, we're going to eliminate you. And one of the Israel-friendly guys are going to win. Since mainstream media started doing that, Abdullah Saeed has picked up 15 to 20 points.
Are you? Wow.
Yes. He surged from number 3 to almost catching McMorrow at number 1. Okay. Totally backfiring, because what you just told the whole country that now is getting it through online media, and half of them might hate Haas, right? But you just told them Abdul's clean. He's not for Israel. He's for America. Okay. So boom, he picks up 15, 20 points in a tiny amount of time. Why? Because nobody was paying attention to that Michigan Senate race. They accidentally put a spotlight on it and said, this is the one guy who's definitely clean of Israel. And people are like, okay, then I'll vote for the guy who's clean from Israel, right? So you see at it what a disadvantage they are now in online media. So, okay, now let's say we won in 28. They couldn't muster up their forces in enough time. But okay, everybody got wise to what's happening. Now China's pouring in money, Saudi Arabia, Israel, all these guys are pouring in money to online media. It will definitely happen, okay? Okay, so well, what do we do? Well, the audience now, remember what I said earlier? Now the most important part is they're using independent judgment, because now I got to pick between the different right-wingers, between the different left-wingers, and then between right and left and whatever the fuck, right? So now all of a sudden, when I use independent judgment, and some guy's telling me, oh, China, 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 and other guy's telling me America, I'm not going to pick the guy that's telling me China, right? So that's a long process. They'll have money, etc. But at the end of the day, the number one advantage of online media is it's not a built machine. So when I was on MSNBC, all I had to do was a little bit better than Chris Matthews, who's before me. And I'd do a little bit better than Ed Schultz, who's the guy who was at 6 o'clock before me, right? So that's super easy because they already built a machine and they hand you 700,000 viewers or 1 million viewers. And you just got to get to 1.1 million viewers. Okay, but it's a machine. Online, no, you don't have a machine. Nobody came to give you a lead audience, Shawn, right? So you had to build it brick by brick. And so you said things that were interesting enough, true enough, right, that you accumulated this massive audience. That's a really hard thing to do. And it's much harder to do when you're bullshitting. So Ben Shapiro did it for a while. he had a really nice, sizable audience for a long time. And then he got caught. So that's the beauty of online media. Everybody gets caught.
That's true. I
Yep.
think that's true.
In case of baseball-sized hail. Heads up! And in case of baseball-sized baseballs. On the plus side, you talked to a AAA insurance agent about home and auto insurance.
We have got to the point where literally
Sorry,
anybody
guys.
can build a fully
I know,
working
the
app
commercials.
without knowing how to code. This is
Yeah.
How?
Real quick, too, for anybody that sees this, for all of you internet sleuths and researchers that spend your time digging into things like the Charlie Kirk case, the incident that just happened at the ballroom or at the dinner, the incident that happened at Brown University, all these missing scientists, all you guys that go down the rabbit holes, right, to find this information. This is what we need to start doing for the candidates that are running for office. Because the truth will come out. And everything comes out in the light. I am not one of those people that is good at researching and deep diving and keeping records organized and how could I word this? Connecting the dots between point A and point B and point C. But a lot of you guys are. And that's what we need to start doing to vet these political candidates. And then that information needs to get passed on to people with platforms, to people that'll get the word out. It's the only way we take our country back. And I don't know about you, but I am scared for what the future of this country looks like. And I can't afford to pay $4.75 a gallon for gas. And try to keep a roof over my family's head. And pay car insurance and cell phone and food and it's unsustainable. If it takes flipping the system on its head to make some forward progress, then flip it on its fucking head, man. That's what we thought we were going to get with Trump. And instead we were sold a line of bullshit. So we're going to have to do it for ourselves.
Would you deal with intelligence operatives? Because that would be another thing that would happen. They would turn candidates into assets, flip them. Maybe they don't flip for a year. Maybe the plan is you're not going to flip for a year. You're going to get in here. You're going to do this. But in a year, you're going to be beating our drum.
Yeah. So look, the bad guys are never going to stop. Why? Because everybody's going to protect their interests. So if you have a vat of money, whether you're a corporation or you're a foreign government, you're going to want to protect that. And if you can get America to give you an endless amount of money, you're going to want to protect that. That's your piggy bank, right? So the money will never stop. The intelligence assets will never stop. All of that. Our job is to protect that flag. Okay. Our job is to be ever vigilant. Okay. And so even when we pass the amendment to get money out of politics, we're not done. Money is like water. It's not like fire. It just keeps pouring back in. Right. So after we pass the amendment, we'll have turned off the main tab. Then we got to tell all of our audiences, be ever vigilant. They'll be back. Okay. So we have to train our audiences to see the patterns. So on Young Turks, what we do is we predict things ahead of time. So you see that we're not Monday morning quarterbacking it, okay? And that there is a script and there is an outline. And if we train you well enough, you could see it on your own. You don't even need us, okay? So on bills, legislation, we have a near 100% track record on predicting what's going to pass. You know why? We were Nostradamus? No. We're brilliant? No. It's easy. Whoever has more money wins every single time, okay? So, for example, then Democrats will say, no, we won on gay marriage. We had more money on gay marriage. The gay rights groups had a ton of money. And in 2012, they were the #1 donors to Obama. In 2008, #1 donors to Obama are the big banks. What happens after he wins? He bails out the big banks and even pays their bonuses. In 2012, the banks are not giving to him as much anymore because he regulated them like 1%. They're like, how dare you? So now his #1 donor becomes gay rights groups. And in 2013, all of a sudden, oh, right, gay marriage. That's what I meant. So we can train our audiences to see the BS, to see where it's coming from.
With this SanDisk Extreme Portable SSD,
I don't have to buy a new laptop. I can just upgrade my space and
to see its results. And even so, you'll get screwed. So I set up Just Democrats. We do the litmus test, only one rule, no corporate PAC money, right? No foreign government money. They say we can't win. I asked a bunch of reporters in DC. I said, how many do you think will get into Congress? They're like 0, but maybe you'll get lucky. Someone will get 1, right? Eventually got 12 in. Now, there's endless problems, Sean. So AOC and the rest go in. First day, she does a sit-in in Nancy Pelosi's office. She's challenging power. Great, we did it. That's exactly what you should be doing, right? And then she stops doing the sit-ins. Then she stops doing anything challenging power. And then next thing you know, she's doing like establishment talking points. And then during the 2024, she's saying Kamala Harris has done enough for Palestinians or whatever. What? Kamala Harris didn't do anything for Palestinians. You should be furiously challenging her to do better on that issue. By the way, the Democrats do an autopsy after the election. They say in that autopsy, #1 reason they lost was because Kamala Harris said she would have the same position as Biden on Israel. Oh, they gave it away. They gave it away, right? But AOC's clean. She doesn't take money from Israel, and she actually votes against them. So why is she doing it? Because they found a new weapon. The new weapon is, don't be so rude to your colleagues. You're being so mean. Hakeem Jeffries is your beloved colleague, and you're a minority, and he's a minority, and you got to really, support them. And remember, if you say anything that's outside what the establishment wants, mainstream CNN and New York Times are going to say you're terrible, you're dirty, and you're a radical, you're an outsider. And they don't want to get burned. They got scared. So they clammed up. So they had good, brave votes. And by the way, the 2 that spoke up the most against Israel were Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush. Then they got eliminated. When they did, the rest of them got more scared and clammed up even more, right? So I've learned all those lessons, having gone through all of this, right? So no, we're not trusting anyone. You do right, otherwise we're going to call you out, okay? And so now AOC gets so mad at us when we call her out. She's so furious about it. She attacked Anna the other day as like a grifter. To your point, where's the money? Are you crazy? When you take on Israel, do you know how they cut off different sources of capital for you? Okay. We have been besieged by the Israel First crowd.
Do you know how hard it is to not get shadow banned on social media for just speaking the word of the country, the name of the country? All you have to do is say the name of the country and the algorithm. I went from having 6,500 people concurrent in my live stream to having 100. From over 6,000 people to 100. And it's not because I'm showing anything graphic or making up lies or I don't even know what you get banned for on YouTube, honestly. Using other people's content, like it's because I'm speaking up against the lobby that has control of our House and Senate. And they control the social media algorithms. That's why it's so hard to gain a following when you're trying to speak truth to power, do it in a respectful way, because I have no hate towards anybody for their religion, their belief in God or whatever they believe in. That's a personal choice and a personal decision. My problem is that American politicians are not putting the needs of Americans first. That is my problem. And if I get labeled anti-whatever because of that, then I'll wear it. I'll wear it. Because I pay my taxes. I go to work every day. I'm a productive member of this society. And I deserve to live in a country that is bettering itself, not falling into chaos because we insist on getting involved on another country's behalf. That's why when I say like and subscribe, it's so important. Because they do everything they can to shadow ban the channel. And that's the only way I could break through it.
Financially. No, it has hurt us massively. And they're like, oh, you're just working with the Republicans. Which Republicans am I working with? Which Republican candidate did I tell you to vote for? Where's the money? There's no money. What are you talking about? Just people make shit up now, right? So, but that's okay. So because a bunch of the left wing attacked us when I started talking to Charlie Kirk and Tucker and all those guys. They're like, how dare you talk to them? I'm like, bro, first of all, just on political stuff. Okay, let's put aside the moral issues. But you and I already just talked about all those moral issues and protecting the flag and caring about the voters, et cetera, and about each other. And cultural wars are to divide us, and they want us divided. But put all that aside, just on politics. Trump won all 7 swing states, and he won the popular vote. If you don't go talk to the other side, how are you going to win their votes back? Mm-hmm. Idiots, how are you going to win their votes back when we lost the popular vote? You have to go and talk to them and say, hey, did you know we're against war? Did you know we're against Israel? Did you know we're for paid family leave? You have to have a conversation with them, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, no, you're evil and you're taking money from the Republicans. We know it. Did they ever prove it? No, they just said it. And they got a whole bunch of people to believe it. And our numbers went down and we took a significant financial hit again. But why do we do it? One, because we believe in it. I thought I got on the news because I thought people were doing news. When I found out they weren't doing news, I stubbornly demand that we do news and we do the truth, no matter, even if it hurts us. When we criticized Obama, we lost tons of members, paying subscribers, because people are trained in tribalism and bipartisan and partisan brain, et cetera. But we did it anyway. Why? Now, fast forward to today, Shawn, who has the credibility?
We do.
That's exactly right. Who earned people's trust? We told you Biden was a bad candidate, and we were right. And we told you that on issues like war, we have to unite, otherwise we're going to get steamrolled. And we were right, okay? It doesn't mean, this is the thing that a lot of people on the left do, and it drives me crazy, and I'm sure you get it on the right too. If you talk to or agree with someone on the right on any given issue, that means you love them and you agree with 100% of what they say, and you're responsible for every position they have. Who made up that rule?
I would love to know.
Right? So, okay, so here's an example. The other day, Tucker apologizes for, hey, I'm sorry, man, I didn't know Trump was going to do this. I feel terrible that we misled people, and now he's turning into this establishment prick, basically, right? And so I thought that was amazing. He didn't have to do that. He's on the right, brother. Like, people on the left, like, no, he should have voted for Kamala. He's not going to vote for Kamala, okay? Yeah. So that's not, like, he's not you.
If you want to push it out and, like, really get it out there, make sure you film it. And you'll
No, I demand 100% of what I want. You can demand all day long, but that ain't going to change shit, okay? So this brother came over and said he was wrong about the war and backing Trump, and then he apologized. You just can't ask for better than that. So Mehdi Hasan's a good ally of mine on Israel and many other issues. He's definitely more to the left than I am in culture wars and stuff, right? And Mehdi's like, not good enough. He said things on there with Buckley, his brother, that were very offensive in other ways. Yeah, but brother, I didn't ask, and I literally wrote this, I didn't ask you to marry the guy. I asked you to agree with him and take his apology on backing Trump and on the war and on Israel. This is the bare minimum, man. It's the super low bar. Take yes for an answer. So some folks on the left drive me crazy. They won't take yes for an answer. We've been anti-war the whole time. I don't mean Young Turks, I mean the left. So, like, here's a great example. Ben Cohen, right? The guy who's Ben and Jerry's, right? He's the Ben from Ben and Jerry's. And Jerry too. They're two guys from Vermont who love this country, okay? They're left-wing patriots. They were against the Vietnam War. They're against sending our kids to die for other countries, etc. They're dead set against Israel and Israel's war crimes, even though they're Jewish Americans. And they want Ben and Jerry's to protest Israel. Now they sold it to a giant company and the company won't let them. But Ben Cohen's going out there, stop giving money to Israel. They're doing war crimes. Let's support America, right? And Ben and Jerry's is like an iconic brand, etc. So we've been the anti-war guys from day one. Take credit for it. And when your brothers and sisters, and yes, even if they're right-wing, they're your brothers and sisters here in America. When they come to your side, show a little grace, right? And show that it was a worthy effort to come to that side, okay? So they drive me crazy, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Shawn, truth is going to win out. So right now, we're back to super healthy on the Young Turks and TYT. We're back to, dominating as a network, etc. And so, and we didn't do that with any money. We haven't gotten any money since we started doing any of this. Money's been taken away, not given in at all. But the audience has held us up on their shoulders. They just keep becoming members and donating and not letting us fall apart, right? And now we're back. Why? Because people go, I got eyes and ears, man. They were right the whole time. And they were looking out for us the whole time. So let China and Saudis and the Israelis come to online media. As the Iranians say, we are waiting for you. Okay. So now you're on our home turf, man. So after Trump won, I wrote a tweet that got a lot of people on the left angry, right? And they misunderstood it. I said, look, even though I was dead set against Trump and I fought like hell against Trump, and he won, I'm in a weirdly hopeful, optimistic mood. I said, why? Because Trump won? No. Because mainstream media has been defeated. The establishment has been defeated. So we have broken out of an establishment prison, and we're now in the populist woods. And that's our woods. Come to Papa, okay? Come get some.
And I think that's where I'm going to end it. And just give you guys some final thoughts. If Cenk and Shawn can sit down for almost 4 hours and not talk about their differences, but talk about what they have in common and how the left and the right can fix the problem together, that is a prime example of how it needs to be done. And I give the two of them all the credit in the world for setting the example of how it should be done. And we have a long, difficult, unfair fight against us. Because we are going to be going against all the money. All of it. The big donors, the political PACs, the special interests, the lobbies. That's who we're going against. But if we want to take our country back, this is how we do it. Our generation needs to get active. Our generation needs to research and deep dive these candidates and see where their money's coming from. And our generation has to say, you're taking money from AIPAC, get the fuck out. Taking money from Saudi Arabia, get the fuck out. Taking money from Qatar, China, get the fuck out. Raytheon, General Dynamics, get the fuck out. Big Pharma, get the fuck out. Big Agriculture, get the fuck out. Because none of those special interests, none of those foreign lobbies, none of those donors give a shit about you, me, or any other any other blue collar American that works for their paycheck week to week, barely has any money in the bank, and doesn't have enough money to fix a $500 car repair. It doesn't matter if you're on the left side of the aisle or the right side of the aisle. The only thing that those people that are in office right now give a shit about doing is making money for themselves and making money for their families and friends. And the only way it stops is if it starts from the bottom and works its way to the top. Because the system will never get fixed from the top down, because these people will never sacrifice themselves for the greater good. So if they're not going to sacrifice themselves for the greater good, well, then we're going to have to do the sacrificing. If you can't tell, I'm pretty passionate about this. Because I am very concerned about the direction our country is going, the direction the dollar is headed, the future of our kids. And if we don't start to implement and make change now, it will be too late. Our country is speeding like a freight train at 1,000 miles an hour and headed right off a cliff. And it's up to us, you, me, the mechanic at the shop down the street, the guy roofing, guys building a deck, the kids working at ShopRite. It's up to us to change the political environment, because nobody's going to do it for us. Guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Again, my name is Ricky. This is America First. FTR stands for Free the Republic, because we are no longer a sovereign nation, and it's time to take our sovereignty back. Please subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment. Drop a like. Share it with your friends. Post it on Facebook. Post it on X. Make clips. Do whatever. I don't care. I just want to get the word out to regular Americans who want to see change. Because the only way we could do it is if we do it together, regardless of what side of the aisle you sit on. Again, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I hope you guys have a great night. Tune in next time. Hit that notification bell. I'll see you next time.